Ladies and gentlemen, out there in Radio Land, we are coming to you once again, not live, through the power of the internet. Something like that?
Yeah. I think that's good. I just wish you hadn't said something like that.
Oh, okay. Ladies and gentlemen, I forgot the rest of what I said.
God,
Anyway, I'm Pat, and this is Those Muckrakers.
fuck you. What about me?
I don't know.
So I don't let you do. So I don't let you do the opening. It's episode 64. I'm Pete, and he's apparently Pat, who's forgotten that he's been hosting this podcast with me.
I've forgotten. You forgot that this is episode 65.
I thought you said it was 64.
Nope, that was last week.
Oh well, now the time has flown. Yeah, man. Up top, because it's really hard to make this podcast not a like I hate you, Donald Trump, and but there is a thing that you brought up earlier that I just wanted to talk about real quick. As soon as we start pulling our news together, you said that he was at an NRA convention and he started making fun of French terror attack victims.
Yeah, he decided to reenact a French terror attack, and he was talking about, well, their gun laws really aren't all that good, so while they're out there, they're all like, yeah, boom, and he just started reenacting people being murdered in France, just making fun of them for having lax gun laws. Or having gun laws, having, when I say lax laws, I mean lax ability for people to actually be able to get them.
That would be like if you were like, I don't understand these World War I pussies hiding out in trenches. You know what I'd do? I'd get up out of the trench, boom, shoot. I'd just shoot them all. I'd just get out of the trench and I would just shoot all the bad guys.
Exactly. By saying these people didn't have guns, that's why they're all getting shot. Basically what he's saying is, if I was there, I would be able to just run in and shoot them because I'd have a gun. If they had guns, they could do that. People don't understand whenever you're scared fucking shitless, it's much harder to actually act. If they aren't emotionally attached to the situation while it's happening, at a point where they don't know if they're going to get out of this alive, they don't actually know how they're going to act. And also, I've seen Trump in fear of his life, and he runs like a coward.
Well, your body does... So there's these really cool thing I learned. So your body does an adrenaline dump, right?
Yeah.
Without there's a reason that in the military they go through tons of training because you need to train your body to react because your brain goes haywire and you still get tunnel vision and stuff. When I was
you really do have to be trained to operate through those adrenaline rushes because you lose control of certain things that you don't expect to.
So when I was lifeguarding, it was fascinating. The stuff they warn you about is that drowning people lose all sense of reason, and so when you're like, hey, I'm a lifeguard, they won't go, oh, thank God. They'll grab your head and push you down and try to use you to stay afloat.
Yeah. Because they're just trying to stay alive at that point.
It's pure animalistic survival. Yeah. There was an article I read too about how most drowning victims, did you know that they don't make any noise as they drown?
Why is that?
Because of the adrenaline dump, your body actually is incapable, your throat, you're incapable of making noise. You just stop. You're unable to scream. Your body freaks out.
I wonder if, evolutionarily, the reason for that is people that were in danger that did not scream to let, animals know where they were at tended to survive.
Probably,
back in the caveman era. That could be
it's
what let those people survive was that they wouldn't scream whenever they were in a lot of pain. You fall and break your leg, you don't scream, you're very quiet, you can get away.
Yeah.
You scream, a wolf comes and eats you.
Well, they actually think that's why crying developed.
Huh.
In extreme pain, leaking tears was a way to alert your other tribe members that you were in pain or danger without making noise.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Your body does a lot of crazy things. We were told, this is lifeguards, this is lifeguard school, this is you're here to save lives, but you were supposed to swim out there, you're supposed to push that little plastic float that, the Baywatch lifeguards have, supposed to push it out at them, and if they try to get around that and get to you, you let them know that if you come any closer to me, I'm going to leave you here to fucking die.
Because you know that there's a chance they could just, grab you and try to drown you.
As soon as they get a hold of you, man, it's game over. And that's the other big thing is we've kind of done people a disservice. We talk about, it's flight or fight. A better name for it is actually flight, fight, or freeze.
I could see that, yeah, like a deer in headlights just freezing up.
Right, because freezing is a protective, like in the nature, if you freeze, the predator may not see you. You know.
Yep.
But yeah, any idiot that's just like, if I was there, well, you fucking weren't. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
I don't understand why these kids just hit under tables. He can't shoot you all. Yeah, but he can shoot a lot of you, and no one wants to be the first guy rushing a gunman to get shot.
Yeah, yeah. They can't shoot you all. Well, even if you go like all at once. First of all, if it's like an AK-47 or something, he can shoot you all.
Yeah.
Just sort of swivel it around, and you all fall down.
Yeah.
But
It's just
secondly, even I mean, you don't want to just throw endless bodies at someone until they are have to stop and reload. It's like, okay, he got 37 of us, but number 38, you go get him. He has to reload. He's reloading the clip, and
Well,
you're dead too. You should have jumped over your brother faster and got to him.
yeah, that dumb. And the interesting thing is, like, he's not speaking to the vast majority of people. Because I was talking to a mutual friend of ours the other day, and we were talking about the NRA and stuff, and like he really, he's ex-military, he really likes guns, but he doesn't like the NRA because they're not actually a gun rights advocacy group. They're just they're a corporate entity, and the NRA is a shill for this corporate interest.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of
All they want to do is make ammunition manufacturers the maximum amount of
Yeah.
money possible. That's all they exist for.
there's a lot of really reasonable gun owners, and I think someone needs to start like a rival NRA for reasonable gun control gun owners, and like that's just like, hey,
The
let's not
the
be.
reason I was just gonna say the reason why the NRA is bad is because they do things like whenever legislation comes up to say, maybe men who beat their wives should not be allowed to buy a gun again if, they did like serious jail time for abusing family members,
Yeah.
because those guys are known for buying guns and shooting
Well,
whoever
that's
they
if you
went to
look
jail
at
for beating.
yeah, if you look at spousal abuse,
The NRA refused to let anyone that they give money to
Yeah.
vote in favor of that law, so it was shot down. So we
Well-
could not pass that law.
well, the spousal abuse hero's journey, if you will, is beat your spouse, stalk your spouse, kill your spouse with a gun. That's how that goes.
Yeah.
But yeah, I wanted to just
And-
add that in because I hate armchair quarterbacks, just all around. You know what I mean?
The other thing is that we need to do like research into gun violence to figure out why this happened, so that we can discover like ways to regulate guns that will be the most effective way for people to still get to keep their guns, but we're not seeing mass shootings every other day. But we cannot research gun violence at all.
Yeah.
We cannot even look into it because the NRA says no, you can't do that, because they know if one person is deprived of a gun, that's one fewer sell, and they're trying to squeeze every penny they can out of people. They don't care how much money or how much blood is on this money. They just want it. But speaking of the NRA, there's Ollie North is in the news today.
Tell us, who is Ollie North? Because I've also forgotten, but I'm going to pretend that you're explaining to the listener.
Okay, Oliver North was someone that used to work for Ronald Reagan, and when Reagan was going to go to prison for the Iran-Contra scandal, everything was sort of pointed towards Ollie North, and then Ollie took all of the documents and handed it to what was her name? Something Fawn? I don't remember. His secretary, at any rate, and she shredded all the evidence, so then everyone got to go free.
And why is he in the news now?
Because you know how he's taking over as head of the NRA.
Right.
Wayne LaPierre is now claiming that he is being extorted and pressured to resign by Oliver North.
Well, fuck you both.
Yeah, exactly. It's a wonderful story because it's just monsters fighting monsters.
It's like the devil being blackmailed by Pan, the goat god, being like, he's trying to force me out as leader of hell. Yeah, well, fuck you both.
Exactly.
I hope you guys get stuck on a desert island with nobody to talk to but each other.
That would be wonderful.
That's my new I just want to wish people into the cornfield. That's my thing. So let's get into the cornfield of Dear Abby, shall we?
Woohoo! Let's do it.
All right, I got a Dear Abby and a Dear Amy. And in Dear Abby, they write, Dear Abby, many years ago I had an affair with a married man. We eventually married and have had a long and happy life together. It was love at first sight for me. Both of us had children with our former spouses. Since no one knows about our affair, I'm wondering what I should do with our love letters and the poems we wrote to each other over those 5 years. Neither of us wants to hurt our children or our grandchildren, nor be remembered negatively after our deaths, but it would certainly shock them all. However, there is much information in these letters that might give insight into why we both wanted divorces so we could marry. We are getting along in years, so please advise. Wondering in Texas.
Uh, well, if y'all have been together for a long and happy life, you can say, well, kids, our relationship didn't exactly start off in the as a textbook romance, but instead, well, here's a bunch of letters of us talking about each other in a scantily clad ways. Don't worry, we redacted all the worst parts that'll make you cringe.
Give them a
and
Bob
just
Barr.
hand them all the letters.
Give them a Bob Barr version of just it's all redacted, or you give it to Ollie North's secretary and she can just shred them.
I want to say Fawn Hill. I keep thinking Anita Hill, but that's someone else.
Yeah. Well, I got a different take on this. Hey, Grandma, no one wants to read your fuck letters. The end.
Oh, yeah, that's another thing. Now, personally, I would just say, fuck it, go ahead and show them whatever. This way, while you're still alive, you can add this, context of, okay, so some of this is scandalous, but just know that we do love each other now.
Yeah,
all of this worked out.
I think if you're going to release it so you can make commentary on it. But also, again, Grandma, no one wants to read your fuck letters. That's all I'm saying. Like, if I found it, yeah.
End of the day, no one's gonna want to read these. Like she's kidding herself if she thinks. Now I do believe in saving things for historic. What am I trying to say? Preserve documents for history's sake.
Absolutely.
But no one's gonna want to read them. It's just gonna be preserved, and that's that.
That's what I want my diary to go on after I die, but I don't think that anyone's really gonna be like, "Boo, this is juicy. This is the part where he was a janitor, or the other part where he was a janitor." Like, no one cares. But yeah, like I don't think people are gonna care that much. And if they do, like, if I found out that Grandma cheated on Grandpa and had, with other Grandpa and had written love letters, I'd be like, I mean, I guess, email me a copy, I'll read them. But who cares?
And that, dear diary, was the third time I peed my boss's coffee cup.
For some reason, I'm imagining it.
He hasn't caught on yet, so I'm starting to wonder.
Yeah, that's the problem.
Does my pee taste good?
I don't
Maybe
diary.
I should try it.
I don't diary all the juicy stuff I've done in my life.
You should.
That's the problem. I journal the boring stuff, but I don't journal like, dear diary, today I peed in my former boss's coffee cup. Like I never wrote that down. I probably should. Yeah, I guess I should go back and do a highlights reel diary where I just do all the weirdest stuff that I've done.
That was the 5th time I saw Wesley shit into a coffee pot.
I haven't seen that yet. You saw that, right?
Many times, yes.
Wait, many times? I thought it was just the one time you guys were at a hotel and he shit in the coffee pot.
Yeah, the what's it called? Not STC. It was whatever the technology club was. Yeah, that was funny.
I mean, did he take it in the bathroom with him, or did he just drop trowel right there?
Oh no, the coffee pot was in the bathroom. So really, they were asking for it.
Just because did he turn it on afterward?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Oh, see, that's the thing. You're doing it wrong, man. If you want to make a dookie stew, you got to do it and pour it into the back of the coffee maker and then turn it on.
Oh.
We did that with pee once. Also, when we were something about the kids from our school fucking up coffee makers. We were on some school trip, and before we left, we pissed in the coffee maker and turned it on.
Nice.
Yeah, but
never ever use the coffee maker in a hotel, kids listening to this show. You never know what's been ran through it.
But the thing that makes it so amazing about doing it with poop is it's going to have that cooked dookie smell.
It'll really waft up the whole place.
Exactly. Yeah. God, we're so I look back on these like haha, but like also what an asshole. Like that's what my diary should be titled if it's ever published. It's just like The Diary of Pete. What an asshole. Yeah.
I can't wait to find out if Wesley does listen to this episode or not, because he'll definitely bring that up. You're giving out all my secrets.
I mean, people do terrible things in hotels. Like when I used to work in a hotel, there was that one time where a guy got drunk, and I guess he started pooping in the bedroom, and continued pooping and slipping in it all the way into the bathroom. and then fell down. Like this is all a CSIing it afterward, right? Like we're just like, and then he tried to make it to the bathroom, but he slipped and fell down. But then he got back because there's like there's like duty handprints all over the wall and stuff.
Oh God, it's like your Dexter, except instead of like blood splatter pattern analysis, it's duty splatter pattern analysis.
Yeah, and the guy like at one point his glasses fell off in it, and he just left them.
And the stream of poo has a broken line right here, so what moved in front of it at the last minute and was splattered with poo? We must find it, and then we'll know who the witness was.
Well, the best thing was I guess he showered and like quietly checked out early. And when the maid went in, she opened the door and it was just like, and then just like, oh my God. So like they called
poo everywhere.
They called out the there are these companies you call to clean up like crime scenes and stuff.
Nice.
They had to call one of those, and then the guy was going to try to dispute the charges on his room.
Wait, they were able to charge him extra for the poo?
Yes, you get charged a cleanup fee. Like if you just drop trowel and shit all over a room, you get charged for that.
So did you send it to him like after he checked out then?
I mean, it was part of his bill. Once they found that, they just billed him, and he was like, I dispute this. And I go, man, look, I would just go, that seems fair, and then not say anything else about it. Because you're not going to win that one. Like, what are you going to take it to court? Like, I mean, I guess if you're really like, someone else must have broken in the hours between the time yeah, come on, dude. Also, your glasses are in it.
Ugh.
You know what I mean? Like, open and shut case.
Yep. Case closed, except also open until I solve it. Detective Pikachu.
So, all right, let's go to the next. So I have a Dear Abby and I have a Dear Amy.
Oh, wow, that one. I forgot we were in the middle of that. Yeah. Okay, so we're at the Dear Abby now?
We're at the second one. We're at the Dear Amy.
Oh.
There's an Abby and an Amy. So it says, Dear Amy, my former boss is stalking me. Hold on. Let me give this a little bit. Let me give this a little bit of a Vincent Price. Dear Amy, my former boss is stalking me. I left my job and now he is frequenting my house and new workplace by driving by. I unfortunately had an affair with this man over 10 years ago. I realize I overstepped boundaries by having the affair with him. I also stayed in the job after the affair had ended because I couldn't find work elsewhere. Now I feel like I somehow deserve the stalking, and there's nothing I can do about it. I have read that the best action is no action, but I'm becoming severely depressed, terribly anxious, and suicidal. My job is part of a community, and I wouldn't be able to continue my work in my town if I confronted him and he decided to retaliate by dragging my name through the mud. Help. By Anonymous.
Well, first of all, you should definitely feel like you do have the right to be afraid because this psychopath can still buy a gun.
Well, here's the thing that really sticks out for me. I heard that the best action is no action. Where did you read that or hear that? From your boss who's stalking you? The best action is to document it, call the fucking police, and have a restraining order put on this son of a bitch.
Yeah. Now, he might retaliate and try to talk about you, but, I mean, fuck him. I mean...
I don't know a lot of people in any kind of community job that would be like, I reckon you deserved it. Like, what? No, she left the job. The affair is over. Like, it's done. Like, he's the one driving by her house. Like, yeah, like that. Yeah, there's no excuse for stalking. And like, yeah, dude, oh man, like, I've never been stalked before, but I feel like I would make it not worth. I would hire somebody to stalk them.
There was two ways I was thinking about going about this. One is that she could get, like, if he started to come by at the same time every day, maybe, like, set something in the road to blow out his tires he drove over it. Prank him back, but it might be a busy highway. That could be difficult.
I'd put sugar in his gas tank. I'd hire a dirty PI that would do some stuff.
Yeah, definitely
for a
get,
extra.
definitely get a private investigator to document all of this so you'll have evidence.
Yeah.
But if you can find a dirty PI, what you're saying is, yeah, you can really fuck with them.
Yeah, like I'd find a Better Call Saul PI, and I would just I'd fuck up his car. I'd leave threatening messages like in his house, but like with weird stuff, like the clowns are watching.
Yep. Don't get a criminal detective. Get a criminal detective.
Exactly. Fuck this dude. Yeah, man. The best action is no action if you want this guy to murder you.
Yeah, yeah. If you want him to tear your life apart, so he is a creepy fucking stalker who seriously needs to get over this. He can't get over it for whatever reason.
Also, he was your
So
boss. He did wrong by he was more in the wrong for the affair than you were because like you're not supposed to have an affair over somebody that you is your direct your direct superior. That's just case law in any basic like office. Like you can't the boss can't bang the employees because it crosses a line and it could cause all kinds of problems.
yep. So yeah.
I'd get him fired, man.
I think she could, because that's what she's not considering. She's worried about her job being injured if he makes a stink about it, but you can hurt his job too. So, he will have to face that fact
Also,
if you do go public about
she
this.
says affair. Also, it says like this was 10 years ago and he's still stalking you. If affair sounds like one or both of them are married, I would just like start sending letters to his wife.
Yeah.
Yeah, fuck this dude, man. Um, Jesus Christ, fucking. I hate people, man. I gotta
That,
stop. I gotta stop ending these on such a down note.
yeah, you always get like one really fun one and then like one sad one. It's like, oh.
Yeah, well, I try to go back and forth, you know.
Yeah. Lift our lift our listeners up and then slam them back down.
Well, this will lift your spirits. I think I actually sent this to you. And this is my like, God, man, uh, are people today fucking softer than like people of yesteryear?
Yes.
Because I said this to you. So this is an article by this guy whose neighbors are having a baby.
Oh yeah. Oh yes, I remember this one.
Yeah, and so like they're on this I guess this neighbor app, and so they sent out this message with like a request for help with the new baby, right? Which
Right.
seems like something kind of cool. I'm trying to find the exact thing. Okay, so here it is. Here's what they say. Uh, and the millennials say, "My wife and I are having a baby. I'm starting a meal train because it's our first, and neither of us have a clue what we're doing. If you are feeling neighborly, and then so like you click the link below, and it like tells you stuff. It says they're having a baby, and they're asking for help, right?
Okay.
Um, they're talking about they're feeling joy, but they're scared, which makes sense. Like you're having a baby.
Hmm.
It's kind of a scary thing, but like they want people to bring food to them, right?
Yes. Yeah. Okay.
Well,
I don't see anything wrong with that.
it gets crazier.
Well, I don't see. I should correct that. I don't see anything wrong with requesting it. So, but anyway, it
Well,
gets crazier.
their request gets more and more like out there. So they don't just ask for what do you call it, like money. They give a list of recipes that they would like.
I'm not gonna do that. I
Yeah.
might bring them a sandwich or something, or like I made chicken and rice tonight. I could bring them some like leftover chicken and rice.
So
That's the
for,
type of things I
yeah.
would do.
So at first it's not bad, right?
Yeah.
But they let you know what they do and what they don't like. So for instance, it says there's a least favorite meals thing, and it says Alex really dislikes mashed potatoes. But again, this isn't necessarily about food. Text me and check in. Maybe come visit. Vacuum, wash some dishes, walk the dog. That will nourish us just as much.
Okay, they're going a bit overboard.
Well, it's just saying, hey, if anybody, we're having a baby, so if anybody want to come by and like maybe help out or like bring food, that would be cool. So then they go even further, right? Uh,
Yeah.
they said we're looking for. They said meal train is loose. We're looking for a check-in train to have people check in on us and see if we need or want anything as we acclimate to our new routine. That might mean a meal or some snack staples, yes, or it might mean stopping by and walking the dog or doing some dishes, or simply bringing your smile and some conversation. Text me on your day and I can let you know what we need. If we could use some food but prefer no distractions, I'll put a big white cooler in the side yard. So like now it's not even like, hey, come by, be a neighbor. They're just like, also, maybe we don't want to talk to anybody, so put food in the cooler in the side yard for us if we don't feel like talking to you.
There's often times where I don't feel like talking to people, but I still do it anyway because you can't always get what you want, and it's not really that bad to have to say hi to someone. Just I mean, here's what you do. Someone stops in, right? You could be like, but I'm really busy right now, so maybe we can pick this up later. And then they'll be like, okay, and they'll leave. It works, I promise.
It reads very like I don't know, man. And somebody there are
I mean,
people
I
that
absolutely do get social anxieties. I understand that, but at the same time, they're like asking people to come and just sort of like be like the help. Like people say, if you're good, the help. That means you're never seen and everything's always clean. And
yeah.
now they're kind of wanting people to do that, except for free.
Yeah, exactly. It's also there's two of you and one baby.
I
So
think you can win in a fight.
yeah. And someone was like, "Well, this is what neighbors used to do back in the day." I go, "Yeah."
No.
Well,
What? No.
when neighbors fucking knew each other and it was a fight for survival, where it's like, "Well, Pa fell ill today. Sure would like it if you could help me hitch up the buggy so I can plow the back 40." Like, yeah,
Yeah. Okay. Sure, like that, but.
people like that would help. But if you're like, Mom and Pa down with the flu, sure would be neighborly if you could bring us some food. Also, just know we don't like pasta. Like, food, fuck you. If you're it's like I get mad at people with food because it's like, unless you have a severe allergy, if you're hungry, you'll fucking eat it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because they were like,
I've,
we don't like sugar. We try to eat whole processed foods. You know what I would do to these motherfuckers? I would throw tomatoes at their house.
Yeah. I've always been a finicky eater, but rather than tell people, like, oh, make me something but not that or whatever, if there's nothing available, I just don't eat. And also, I mean, back in elementary and high school, if I didn't like what they were serving, I just didn't eat. That was never a problem for me. I could gladly skip a meal rather than cause a fuss. And nowadays, I cook all my own meals, so I always just have what I want.
Well, it's just like, I think if you're going to ask for help, you should just accept the help that people give and not be
Yes.
super specific with it.
Yes. So if it was like my baby, I wouldn't be like, my baby doesn't want mashed potatoes. I'd be like, any food you bring. Is that T-bone steak good for an infant? Well, you know what? He's got to learn to chew sometime. Come on,
I'd,
baby, gum it.
I'd take a shit in the cooler.
The one they put out in the yard.
Yeah.
Take Wesley's shat-in coffee maker and put it in the cooler.
I would
and
just
turn
be
it
like,
on.
"Hey man, it's whole food. There's no, you know what I mean? This ain't no mashed potatoes in this one. That's straight colon beef."
Yep.
Yeah, fucking douchebags. Yeah, it was a bit much. Like they
What?
should have.
What bothers me is the now on Tuesdays we don't like to talk, so please put the not mashed potatoes in the cooler outside, and then on Wednesdays we need for you to come in and vacuum, but
Yeah.
don't make eye contact.
Can you come in and vacuum or do the dishes? God damn, dude, the vacuum
also-
is a
also on
labor-saving
Fridays-
device.
Also on Fridays, whenever you come in to do our windows, I like to talk about Oprah Winfrey from 1 p.m. to 1:25 p.m., but not after that because that's tacky.
This-
So what we need to talk about at that time is Rosie O'Donnell.
This
It's
this
okay.
reads like the contract when like a famous person stays at a hotel. You know what I mean?
Exactly. That
They're like,
is what it reminds me
a
of.
bowl of holy green M&Ms and white chrysanthemums. God so help you if they're not white. Like, wait, you're not Prince. You don't get to be like, and no one make eye contact with me, and I'll need a tiger wearing 3 gold chains.
Nice.
Yeah, man, it just, I don't know, it smacks of entitle, and I hate the word entitlement, but it definitely smacks of entitleism. Entitlementism? Entitlementism.
Minimalism.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I said, from the onset, just we're having a baby. Could our neighbors make some meals for us? I'm like, yeah, sure, that sounds fair. But whenever they start to get into all the other this bullshit, it's like, okay. These are people that don't know you, not your like close friends here. So maybe pump the brakes,
Well,
pump the entitlement brakes.
in good news today, James Byrd Jr. Either he was going to be or was executed this week. Sorry, not James Byrd Jr. My apologies. John Williams King.
James Byrd Jr. made me think of James Bond Jr., that old cartoon.
Well, if you remember from the 90s in Jasper, Texas, these Ku Klux Klansmen tied this guy, James Byrd Jr., to the back of a truck and drug him to death.
Oh,
Yeah,
shit.
1998. It was one of the most gruesome fucking things that like I'd ever heard of. Well, like now one of the 3 men involved in this killing, he was executed on Wednesday. So shout out to that, which is weird because I'm against the death penalty for the most part.
I'm surprised Trump didn't pardon him.
this one kind of got everybody. Well, here's the weird thing. Well, not weird, but like Bird's sister, she forgave this guy 13 years ago and protested the execution, saying you can't fight murder with murder. They said they don't feel justice was served because they think that he was just given the option to take some drugs in his arm and go to sleep. I guess they would rather him serve the rest of his life in prison, which, I mean, I guess I can see that.
I kind of agree. They should have just let him stay in prison forever.
But it's also like, yeah, like...
But based on everything I heard, it's like, yeah.
Yeah.
As long as there was zero chance of him ever getting out.
Yeah, it was pretty insane, like, the thing, because, like I said, I remember this from my childhood, like, that was a big fucking... Because they beat this guy, and then they drug him to death until he kind of fell apart.
I don't remember that.
Yeah.
Because I guess in my household, we didn't listen to things like that.
I mean, like...
And I'm not sure how I'd never heard about it going to school, because... Yeah, I would have still been in school then.
Yeah, we
so
were
I don't know. I don't know why that was never brought up.
Yeah, so that guy...
That was like right smack dab in the O.J. Simpson Clinton impeachment trial news block, right?
It's guys like that make it hard. So I'm pretty against the death penalty, right?
Yes.
But when I read a case like that, I go, I'd make an exception for that dude. You know, you drag somebody to death behind a truck. Yeah, we don't need you around anymore.
All right. Well, my problem with the death penalty is that I don't trust the government to be able. Yeah, I don't trust them to be able to execute the right people. So I'd rather no one get executed than the wrong people get executed.
Well, this guy, it was pretty cut and dry that like he did it.
And people try to argue that America's never executed an innocent man. Well, here's the thing about that. Whenever you're executed, your case file is closed forever, so it will never be on the books that you were actually innocent and executed. So on the books, we've never executed an innocent person, but in reality, we have. We've executed a lot of innocent people. But just officially, the paperwork will never say that they're innocent.
Well, in other news, I want to call this segment Tit for Tat.
Woot!
So the United States...
You should be like, this is my tit for tat, Pat. And I'll be like, tell me about it, Pete.
This is tit for Pat. So I don't know if you heard about this, but the United States labeled the Iranian Republican Guard, which I guess is a big part of their army, as an official terrorist group.
Okay.
So in return, Iran has labeled the entire U.S. Army as a terrorist group.
That's funny. Well, I mean, that's a discussion that we've been having since 2001, which is, one person's freedom fighter is another person's terrorist group.
Well, these aren't even freedom fighters. These are like part of the fucking army.
I was just talking about America. We're freedom fighters for some, and we're terrorists to them.
Yeah, I mean, we have blown up a lot of weddings and kind of other things that weren't. Yeah, that was not good.
Say, a nice day for a drone wedding.
Well, in what I'm going to call Wesley Scientific Breakthrough News,
ha!
An academic has claimed that she invented a cure for homosexuality.
Oh?
It is a suppository that kills the semen-eating anal worm responsible for the excessive sexual urges.
What?
Mm-hmm. An academic in Kuwait... Where
what about like a gay couple that just doesn't have anal sex because they're not into that, but they're still like crazy in love?
I guess they're still listening to the worm.
Yeah. But what about women?
Well, that's a good question. Does the worm live in everybody's anus?
Yeah, because today's actually Lesbian Visibility Day, right? So. Lesbians really do need to be more visible. They get left out of studies like this.
Well, this is in Kuwait.
People are like, no, lesbians are cute. We won't worry about curing them. But men, ooh, no.
Well, this is in Kuwait where gay sex is criminalized. This woman claimed that she found a cure. It's a suppository that will kill the sperm-eating anal worm that facilitates excessive sexual urges. She says, this is science, so there's nothing to be ashamed of. The sexual urge develops when a person is sexually attacked, and afterward it persists because there's an anal worm that feeds on semen. Do you think that as soon as this came out that Mike Pence was on the first fucking flight to Kuwait?
I need for you to put that right up my butt and get rid of my anal worms.
I'm sorry, honey. I gotta go to Kuwait. It's a goodwill tour. I gotta go.
I'm sorry, mommy.
Sorry,
Sorry,
Mom.
mother.
Sorry, mother. But that's so weird that, like, this would be something so easy to prove scientifically, right?
Right.
Couldn't you just, like, I have the worm here in a jar and I've been feeding it semen?
You'd think so, but...
Like, I guess the question is, like, is the worm talking to you? Is it like, hey, man.
Precious!
Let me, Also, why would the worm live in your ass? Why wouldn't it go straight to the balls where semen is made? Like, you could go right to the chocolate factory, man.
Yeah, I mean, the prostate's like right there. Tunnel through that and you're in the gravy.
Yeah, you're in the sweet man gravy that you crave.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a stupid worm.
That should be the opener to our show.
Dun, 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 dun. Stupid worm time.
I was going to say, Pete and Pat, we've got that sweet man gravy that you crave. Oh, man. So this is happening in Kuwait. Meanwhile, in Brooklyn, the number of people that have measles has gotten, like, there are more people, like, the measles number's exploding. Like, at a certain point we go, we've eradicated measles. And then measles was like, I'm back. And then, yeah, because people are afraid of vaccinations.
Okay, we did it, y'all. We cured the measles. Wait, what's that banging on the door? Is that an axe? Here's Johnny! Oh, god damn it.
Yeah, so measles is back. Also, not just in Brooklyn, but I guess in Pakistan, people don't trust the government, so they're shooting people that are trying to eradicate polio.
Shooting the typhus. Wait, they're shooting people that are trying to cure polio?
Yeah. So they've been trying to do this polio eradication thing in Pakistan, and I guess people are just like, I'm not buying it. Get off my land.
My polio.
Yeah, there's like been this last week they shot a couple cops, and then they shot some aid workers that were like, hey, we just want to vaccinate your kids against polio, and they were like, blam, blam, blam.
I already trusted you with the anal worms. I let you put pills in my butt. It didn't work. But you're trying to say polio's real too. Get off of my property.
That's what I understand about the world. We think that homosexuality is caused by semen-eating anal worms, but we're not vaccinating people against polio.
People are just not convinced that polio's a real thing.
Maybe if we told people that polio was caused by a semen-eating anal worm.
And now in North Georgia, like, what is it? Hepatitis A, B, C, G? I don't know. Is like breaking out again. It's like, cool. Just let all the diseases come.
Yeah. I just like.
Oh my God! In STD news, I actually learned something recently. I just thought it was a fun fact. Back in the day, like 100 years ago, everyone used to sort of sleep in the same beds together.
Yeah.
Like before the 1950s. Sitcoms tried to make it look like everyone slept in different beds.
I guess.
Back then, like people just all slept in the same beds together. That was what you do. You can see this in old literature, like in Moby Dick. Different people that are strangers are just sleeping in the same beds.
It was two things. A, like people didn't have a lot of beds, but B, also there was a lot of like, well, I guess we all got to sleep together so we don't die from the cold.
Part of that, but also, so back then there was a whole lot of like bugs you would get from one another, and syphilis was one of them that everybody had. It was just like, it was a mild irritant, but everyone had syphilis, and you got it from sleeping in the same bed with everyone else.
Delicious.
When we decided to stop sleeping in the same beds together, syphilis transformed. It mutated into an STD and became the brain-rotting disease that we know it as today.
Well, you got to go back even further. So before syphilis, when it first hit, it was a big hit. It rotted people's noses off. You were basically walking around looking like zombies as your flesh dropped off when you had syphilis back in like the 1300s.
Yeah.
It was really bad. But I thought of a really cool movie line for like the measles outbreak. Like, this summer, when we decided to fight measles and other diseases, we never realized that they would fight back. And then like sound of like a shotgun cocking, like and like, yeah, no one thought, I guess, that polio would take on the form of a guy with a shotgun.
Yeah, this polio evolved to become this guy with a gun.
Here's what I think.
It's like Hobo with a shotgun, or the movie Rubber, and now it's polio. Yeah, now it's just like a floating gun, goes the polio's holding it. Yeah, bam!
Wouldn't polio be too weak to hold a gun?
I mean, it's special effects.
I know, I just mean polio the disease. It makes you weak, right?
Oh, someone with polio. Oh yeah, no, not if it's a hoax, like the butt worms.
I think we ought to open up what I call Disease Island. I know
The
that,
island of misfit diseases.
and I know that Fox did this with Temptation Island back in the '90s. But I think what we do is like, we just set up an island. It's got all the amenities and everything, and you can come live there and work there, and you don't have to have any vaccinations, but you cannot leave.
We can call it Naked and Afraid and Clapped.
Clapped and afraid. Yeah. So like, I just vaccinate your fucking kids, man. Come on, like.
TLDR, you get the vaccinations. It'll be fine, I promise.
Yeah. In lighter news, I thought this was really cool. So they opened up this thing in Oxford, this little place, and it's
Right.
called the Library of Things. And basically, everybody that's just got shit that like they have but they're not using right now, they put it in the library and you come rent it for like $10. So if you're just like, I need a disco ball, you go to the Library of Things and rent a disco ball for the night. You know what I mean?
Interesting.
Or if you're like, I need a belt sander, you're like, you go to the Library of Things, you rent a belt sander. It's awesome. Why isn't this everywhere?
I don't know.
Like, it's so cool. We have so much shit, we could just put most of our stuff in a library of stuff, and then people could just rent it.
Yeah, that sounds good to me.
Yeah. Well, I know why we don't have it, because fucking capitalism, that's why.
Yeah, Hey, yes, absolutely. That means that people aren't going to buy a belt sander. Like, imagine everyone that rented that belt sander. That's one lost belt sander sell. So people that make belt sanders are like, that's going to cost us hundreds of dollars. We can't let people do that. So they will go out of their way to try and stop that. I bet that the belt sanding company would send someone to rent out the belt sander and not return it. That way it'll look like, well, people just steal the belt sander. We can't have that anymore because corporations will try and stop people from doing that.
So they would just assassinate the fucking librarian.
They'll do it through more underhanded ways, or they'll just shoot the librarian in the head. Either way, point being is that capitalism, there are so many instances where it's good, but like late stage capitalism starts getting super fucked up.
Well, I mean, when you're just making things for the sake of like, well, if we don't make things, the economy will fall apart. Like, well, then come up with a new system, brother.
Yep. Because the current economy is built on the current business model is built on a system of constant growth and always outdoing yourself the year before, and
like cancer.
Yeah, exactly. It's
constant
just
uncontrolled
cancer.
growth. So you ready to get to the big news today?
Yes, Pete. What is the big news story of the day?
Papa Joe Biden's officially running for president.
Hey!
He's like the Fonz.
Oh,
He's like
Joe.
the Fonz that no one cares about.
He jumped the shark. When was his jumping the shark moment?
Probably when he was vice president to Obama.
Oh yeah, that was so unbelievable. There's no way that happened.
So
Actually, I saw this weird picture of Biden from 30 years ago, and he had lost all of his hair. He got it back since then. It's crazy.
So the problem with Biden is I think he might represent the best chance to win in 2020, but he doesn't represent the
best of us.
Yes, he doesn't represent where the Democratic Party wants to be. I don't know, man. Maybe that's what we need. He's also 78, which I'm like, why is anybody at 78 running for president? You're too fucking old.
I will tell you there's one reason I would want him to win at this point, because Trump has the record of the oldest person to ever be elected to their first term.
Yeah, I want
him. Yeah, I want that shit to be broken.
I would like for our next president just to be an ancient lying machine that just it's thousands of years old, and it also just computes and spits out lies faster than a human can. So it just takes all of his records away. He doesn't even have the fucking record of lying.
I am the most bigly, greatest, fabulous, okay? Biggest inauguration crowd ever. If anyone's not aware, Trump is rapidly approaching the 10,000 unique lies since taking office mark.
So Biden's got some stuff in his past. The big thing was during the confirmation of Justice Clarence Thomas in 1991. He was accused of sexually harassing Anita Hill, right?
Right.
And if you watch it hurt me. So when Kavanaugh was being that whole.
And if you ever need a hill to die on, that is the one.
God, I hate you, and so does everyone else. So like she's testifying that this dude acted super inappropriate towards her and other women. And so I went back and watched clips of the interview, and Biden's the one running it, and like it's so terrible. It's a bunch of old white guys in 1991 just grilling this black woman that's trying to be like, yeah, this guy sexually harassed me, and like there was some weird shit in it too, where one guy's like, hey, boobies, we can all say it, right? I like that word. It's a good word. Like, you're like, what the fuck is happening right now?
Yeah, because seriously, Biden, they should have known better.
Well, so now that Biden's running for president,
Did you catch that one?
I did, and I ignored it.
Now that he is running for president.
Well, take in mind, this was in 1991. How many years ago was 91? 28 years. 28 years ago.
Yes. I will say.
So the first day of his campaign, Biden called her saying that he had shared with Miss Hill his regret for what she endured 28 years ago when he was.
She told him to go fuck himself.
She should have, yeah. When he was chairman of the Senate Judiciary Committee. So like, if you haven't apologized in 28 years, why now? No one. It's not real. No one gives a shit, and you're full of crap. Like.
Yeah, and that just generated negative publicity right when he's starting to run for president, because everyone knows he's only apologizing because he's about to run for president.
And I get that, like, he's an old guy, but like, dude, like, you could have apologized for this at any point in the last 28 fucking years.
Yep.
Yeah, like, it's, if you get a chance, just Google it, watch the trial. It's just, it'll make you sick. Like, the fact that anybody is the victim and you're just like grilling the victim is insane.
Yeah, because I mean that's how they treated women for like straight up until last year, I think. Whenever a woman was sexually harassed, they'd be like, "So why were you being a temptress, walking around in your short skirts, getting men all agitated? Just you're a wild woman, you."
Well, that's
how they treat.
Another
treat
reason
people.
this is a bullshit apology. Anita,
feminine wilds. That's the word I was trying to think of.
Yeah,
anyway.
Hill said the focus on the apology to me is one thing, but there needs to be an apology to the other witnesses, and there needs to be an apology to the American public. The Biden campaign said that it would have no comment beyond its initial statement on Mrs. Hill's reaction. So like, fucking now they're like, we're not going to say anymore. Like, fuck you guys. Come on, man. Is this the best that we can put up as a 7 to 8 year old fucking asshole? And the thing is, I kind of like Biden, which is like, I don't know why.
Well, he's a charming, charismatic person.
Yeah, so
I mean, that's just the fact of the matter. And so was Trump. Trump. That's what you're going to say, right?
No, I was going to say so was Hitler to a lot of people.
But same thing.
Very charming and charismatic.
Yeah, but so is to the people that like Trump, he is charismatic to them, right? Like, I don't fucking see it, but I have to acknowledge clearly they do.
But the other problem is, and I talk in great length with friends about this, and this is an interesting problem, is that, like, do you feel like we are, like the left and liberals are neutering their own movement by cannibalizing people, like Biden and like, what's the old Hansy McGee, what was his name that they removed?
Kavanaugh?
No, he's not on our side. Fucking Al Franken.
Yeah.
It's just sort of like the whole is the moral superiority we gain from cannibalizing these people worth losing them as part of the party?
Yeah, because that's actually a really big problem, is that the Dems are trying to play by the rules, and the GOP doesn't give a fuck about the rules. That's why at the end of Kent Starr's report, he could recommend Bill Clinton be impeached, and Mueller did not recommend Trump be impeached because Mueller followed the rules, and Kent Starr, that was a political hit job. Which I do have a couple things to say about that. I have several things to say about this whole thing because I've learned more since the last podcast.
Yeah.
First of all, people are saying we're worried about Trump becoming more popular after the impeachment, so let's not impeach him. Because, what happened to Bill Clinton? Couple things. Bill Clinton was impeached in 98. He won re-election in 96. So the impeachment didn't spur him on to winning the election. And in fact, what was the next president after him? A Republican. So it may have made him more popular in the polls, but a Democrat did not win after him.
Yeah.
So that's a misnomer. That sounds like Trump's people are trying to muddy the waters of information again.
Well, the idea is if you delay the impeachment process long enough, we'll get close to the election, and there is definitely a cutoff. By the time we hit the election, everyone's going to be too busy campaigning, and no one's actually going to push for impeachment. I've said before, I think that we should impeach, but I don't think we can with the Senate still in the hands of the Republicans right now.
I think they should try. I think that Nancy Pelosi should start pushing for this really hard. Now, I know what they're trying to do. They're just trying to like get more solid information down because Trump keeps blocking the House and the Senate from being able to interview people.
Right.
So that is further obstruction of justice.
Yeah.
Charge 3 of Nixon's impeachment was that he was blocking people from testifying. So this is one of the major charges that Nixon dealt with, and that's what Trump's doing right now.
Yeah.
And so that's like one of my notes here is that shit is just taking too long. Attorney General William Barr is testifying on May 2nd. Mueller has been requested to, and now the House Judiciary Committee has subpoenaed documents from Don McGahn by May 7th and expect to hear from him by May 21st.
The worst part about it, too, is that one of the reasons he needs to go is, and also, let's not forget McConnell has got to go. He, during some campaign rally, was just like, if Trump doesn't get elected in 2020, I'm going to block everything. I'm going to be the Grim Reaper. And I was like, when you're that old, should you really be making Grim Reaper jokes? I'm just saying, you're pretty old. Maybe don't make that joke, McConnell, because the last thing to get blocked up might be your old corroded arteries.
We could be so lucky. So,
also, how old is he? He's like in his 70s, right?
McConnell? He looks like he's in his thousands. I think he's about 250. That's like about the age turtles like beach themselves and try to dry out.
I like to think that he's like a short, old, chubby little
age.
Randall Flagg. He's just timeless, jumping from like world to world, trying to destroy humanity.
Oh my God, he's only 77. He's fucking younger than Joe Biden
by a year. I think also there should be an age cap. There should be congressional limits, but also there should be a goddamn age cap. Like, you can't be like a septuagenarian and be like, hey, still want to be in the Senate. Like, come on, dude. There's going to be a mandatory retirement age.
Nancy Pelosi's 79.
Yeah.
How is she older than McConnell?
This is why our country's in trouble, because the goddamn crypt keepers are the ones running things. Like, the whole election fraud thing, right? You know why there's been no movement on that?
Why is that?
Because none of these motherfuckers understand the internet.
Yeah, that's a big part of it.
Series of tubes, my friend.
Speaking of people not understanding stuff, Trump's people have been trying to confuse everyone about what the Mueller report said by saying, well, you see, it didn't say that he was guilty, so he must be innocent. But the report says, I think it's on page 6, that that's where Mueller lays out the parameters of this impeachment and gives himself this is a self-enforced rule that he cannot, with this report, find the president guilty. Right. He says that this report will choose not to weigh in on whether he's guilty or not.
Because
however, it will weigh in on whether or not he was innocent.
Exactly. Because guilt is for impeachment, which is for the House and the Senate. Constitutionally, like, he does not have the special counsel does not have the power to impeach. Like, that is the job of the other branches of government.
Right, and Mueller explicitly did not find him innocent. He's like, I did not find him to be innocent. He could have judged innocent, but he did not. He said, well, I couldn't find him to be innocent. And in fact, Mueller lays out 10 occurrences of obstruction, 8 of which had substantial evidence of obstruction. Substantial meaning this is all the evidence in the fucking world. He definitely did this, but here it is for you.
There was a really great Trevor Noah bit about like how the United States is weird in that, like, you can be obstruction is a crime even when the crime that you're trying to obstruct does not exist. And he was talking about how Trump is now finding out about the justice system, what black people have always known. And he was talking about there's a story about a guy that was arrested. They were like, well, what did you arrest him for? And they were like, resisting arrest. And they're like, yeah, but what was the original arrest for? Resisting arrest. So you're being arrested for resisting being arrested.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like that's the whole, Trump's like, I didn't do anything. Well, you still obstructed justice, which in the United States, weirdly enough, is still a fucking crime.
Yep. So I can like prattle these off, but they're all things like efforts to fire Mueller. Like that's the big one where he ordered his people to fire Mueller. Firing Comey was at substantial evidence of
And
obstruction.
I listened to a little bit of AM radio where they're like, he's constitutionally allowed to fire anybody he wants, and I go, true, but when you're firing people for the express purpose that can be proved of obstructing an investigation, then it gets sticky because then you're committing a crime.
Exactly. It's like you're free to fire your gun wherever you want to, unless a person's like right there in front of it.
Right, or unless you're shooting it at somebody that's actively investigating you.
Exactly.
Then you're obstructing justice by shooting at the people investigating you.
Trump
Yeah,
just has to do it in the middle of Fifth Avenue, then he won't lose any support.
I mean the wheels of justice are slow, but I do hope that I do hope that like a Republican alternative comes to the front if we don't impeach him, and the party abandons him and goes to the other guy. That to me, best case scenario. Like a what's old Mormon face's name with the binders full of women?
Oh, Jesus. If you hadn't asked, I could have remembered his name.
Yeah. The guy who ran against
Mitt Romney.
Yeah. So I'm hoping that maybe because Mitt seems like he's really setting himself up to be a Republican frontrunner.
Because I don't know if people are unaware of this, but the Republicans don't have to go with Trump as the person they run in 2020. They can just pick someone else.
Yeah, I mean,
they've never done so before. Like in American history, I don't think we've ever done that.
Oh well,
but it's possible. You can do it.
It has happened. I mean, like
outside of the early 1800s.
Yeah, Lyndon B. Johnson lost the support of the Democratic Party before his second term, and then decided not to run. So.
Okay.
Yeah, man. It's happened before. Like the party can pull support, and I think that would be the wisest thing for that party to do is pull support, rally behind someone else. And without party support, there's even if he runs as an independent, there is almost no way he can win. The only problem with pulling party support...
I would love it if he ran as an independent. That's what I was hoping would happen last time, would be that he would lose at the RNC, and he would run as an independent and pull the GOP in half.
That's the problem. So if they do pull support for Trump and he still runs anyway, it'll shave enough off of the vote so that it would almost assure a Democratic victory.
Yeah. Which is why they wouldn't want to splinter him.
Right.
Because they'd be pretty sure that he would do that.
But, I mean, like I said, it may work out that, like, they pull support from him and then still win anyway. But I think it's a better move either way because any putting anything up besides him is a better... I don't know if he can win the 2020 election.
I mean, he shouldn't be able to, but... our government has done nothing to stop Russia from interfering again, and they've only gotten more sophisticated with experience and practice.
Yeah, but like a lot of their stuff's been brought to light, so I don't know how effective their election meddling would be this time.
Well, I mean, the people that are in charge most of them are still in charge, so we'd have to wait and see. Because they know that if they get away with it, nothing can stop them as long as they keep succeeding. So they have to try and succeed like their lives depend on it.
Yeah, but at the same time, do you need to meddle with this next election because your last thing was so successful? You can just let it ride, and whatever's going to happen is going to be disputed.
Oh, they're definitely meddling. Like they're already gearing up to do it again.
Yeah. So I don't know, man. I guess the biggest takeaway from this episode is fucking go out and vote, you bunch of animals.
Yeah. Get everyone you know to, especially if you live like out in red states. Get more and more blue people to vote out there. Flip them.
Yeah, well, I still think the key to all of this is we need to open up, to uncalcify the political system. You need to open up more parties. We need to set it up so there's a guaranteed like third and even fourth party out there to kind of keep things shook up. I think the two-party system, it's hard.
That would be a great idea if someone like Trump wasn't running. We have to get rid of that tumor because he is the worst possible thing we could have. We can't have another orange Hitler running America.
The problem is, though, if it stays two-party, whether he wins or loses, we're still calcified into two camps. I don't agree with the Democratic Party. I don't like
Let's just get past the danger, and then we can start decalcifying.
Yeah, but my whole point is, like, I wouldn't be a Democrat if there was any other option. Actually, I think that I'm still listed as the Green Party right now. Because they sent me a text the other day, and I'm like, who the fuck are you guys running now?
I don't know.
But, yeah, so, I don't know, man.
I'm not sure who their front runner is.
Fucking fix it. I just want someone to fix the shit. Oh, there was a delightful little bit of Trump news I left out. He met with the head of Twitter the other day, Jack Dorsey, in like a meeting, and the notes
yeah,
about
I
it came
remember
out
that.
that he was mad because he had lost followers because they purged a bunch of like bots,
Yep.
and he was just like, "I'm losing followers." Like, yeah, because they're not real.
Yep. And did you know that Trump has half the number of followers that Obama does?
That's
That's
got
probably got a stick in his crawl.
that's got to bother him so bad.
Stick in his crawl like a semen-addicted worm.
I did kind of agree with something that Jack Dorsey said. You know, people are like, we should ban him from Twitter. And he's like, well, I think that leaders of countries should actually be allowed to speak on Twitter because if we take that platform away from them, they'll just do it somewhere else. That's got good and bad connotations. A, you're elevating, you're basically giving them a megaphone, which they may not otherwise have. But at the same time, is hiding the megaphone really the best bet?
I mean, he's digging his own grave. Every tweet he ever tweets is going to be something that the GOP has to answer for the rest of their existence. So we're always going to be able to use him against them. And right now they can pretend like they're okay with this, but it's going to haunt them forever. And Trump only works for Trump.
Yeah.
That everyone that's ever backed him, we could be like, remember whenever you backed the guy that said this?
Yeah.
You definitely backed him after he said this. Oh, and then there was this, and then there was this.
The thing was, I would support random GOP members if they weren't such just absolute shills for the president. Like, be Republican, be Democrat. I don't care, but stand for something. Don't always just fucking follow the party line.
I mean, they stand for big business. That's it.
Yeah.
They stand for getting more money from their wealthy overlords, and that's the thing about the GOP versus the Dems is that the GOP are 100% for big business. They don't give a fuck about people, and because of that, the big businesses are able to feed the most effective propaganda to the people to convince them to vote against their own best interests.
I don't think as many people are on his side as you think.
I think that enough are that he won the last election. But it's going to further that by saying now the Dems, there is definitely corporate corruption creeping into the crevices there, particularly of their oldest members. Like Nancy Pelosi is a big threat because Trump is very profitable for her, and that's why she doesn't want to do impeachment.
Has anybody ever thought about dragging her out into the sunlight and see if she just turns into a cloud of bats and smoke?
Very likely. She could happen. So, I mean, it's not like the Dems are not corrupt. It's not like they don't have corruption, but it's still comparing mountains to molehills. They're at least trying to pretend like they're not corrupt. They're at least preaching good ideas and good things. Pro-consumer ideas, right?
I found out the other day that a friend of mine loves Trey Gowdy and hates AOC in the exact opposite way that I love AOC and hate Trey Gowdy.
Oh, yeah? Who's Trey Gowdy?
You don't remember the lopsided head guy that was like at the Canova hearing? He's like a Tea Partier and stuff. He's from South Carolina.
Oh.
He's the one that's all like, no. Let me ask you something. Like, yeah, he's the.
Oh, that guy, the idiot.
Little lump-headed idiot. Yeah, I was just talking to a friend. He's just like, I like Trey Gowdy. I'm like, are you kidding? I hate that dude. So it's just funny that we all have just like Game of Thrones, we all have our champions, and we'll have to wait till next Sunday to see how it plays out.
Yep.
I swear to God, this whole election cycle, when we get into the 2020 election, I'm just going to be like da 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 da.
Peter Dinklage.
Have we ever thought about just electing Peter Dinklage?
I mean, I have. Let's say,
It's such I have. You're just sad, like all your efforts to get Peter Dinklage on a ticket have just failed. You're like, I have tried so many times. I've held rallies and no one came. I had to eat so many cookies I made for this rally. Peter Dinklage didn't even come. In fact, he filed a restraining order against me.
I'm just as sad as you are. I guess that's all I can do for Dinklage. I made the lemon squares and nobody bought them.
Yeah. You know what it's like making 1,000 lemon squares and no one eats them?
It's like having 1,000 lemon squares that you now have to eat or they'll go bad.
My poop smells like Lysol.
Lysol!
Lemon pledge.
Do you know what it's like having a coffee maker in a hotel smelling like Lysol?
And we like to just at the as we wrap up here, I'd like to issue a sincere apology to all the hotels we stayed in as teenagers. No one deserves that, and we're sorry.
Yeah, yeah. I still blame Wesley. He did it. How dare you on yours?
Well, until next time, guys. I guess keep listening. Pat, hit him with the social media.
Oh, right, the socials, though. If you want to follow us, you can do so at Those Muckrakers on Twitter. You can also email us at thosemuckrakers@gmail.com. And you can find us on YouTube at youtube.com/thriftingtonpost.
Nobody sent us a damn email yet, and I'm sad about it.
People, send us an email. Send us your own Dear Abbeys, and we can read them on the air and discuss your problems and tell you how to handle them.
Send us a question.
It's like, there is a stalker. What should I do? Shoot him. Okay, move on. Next.
All our advice is just going to be shoot him.
There's a man I really love. What should I do? Shoot him.
Shoot him. And you know what they say? If you love something, shoot it. And if it comes back to you, it was meant to be. And if it doesn't, you're probably going to face criminal prosecution.
Remember, if you shoot it and it's still alive, shoot it again. Double tap. You got to take care of that.
Oh, we're going to jail.
Don't shoot him.
Yeah, because that'll save it.